Here, this is Lord Potato, and this is what if Naruto had disasters slash jutsus, well, no, disasters, jutsu slash abilities. Part 4, the end of this what if. As you also say, yes, I'm trying to finish what ifs that are like either 1 year old or 11 years old or whatever. Not 11 years old, 11 months old. But yeah, I'm trying to finish old what if. Well, yeah, all old what ifs and start on some new ones. Maybe if I can, because I usually get too lazy. And yeah. But other than that, let me start on part 4 of this what if. So, Naruto. He is right now, well, with Tamari, going after Gaara because, well, he has actually been taken by the Akatsuki. Now, Naruto gets to, well, what's it called, Gaara location because he managed to find it when he was actually using the sand. And of course, the sandstorm was, well, having a kind of sandstorm right now in the sand village. Of course, Naruto was using that, well, nature disaster to kind of track down where what's called Sasori and Deidara would be at. Because they were also flying through the sandstorm, and Naruto and Tamari were following. Now, of course, Tamari wanted to go along to kind of help her brother, but yeah. Of course, this is where Naruto gets towards where, well, the location would be kind of at, and Naruto finds the cave. This is where Naruto and Tamari sees the cave, and this is where Naruto says, "I'll be the one to take out the Akatsuki." Tamari says, "Are you sure?" Naruto says, "Yeah, I'm fine." This is where Naruto activates his eye, but activates it to the max, the second Dojutsu level. This is where Naruto, he gets ready. Now, this is where Naruto, he jumps down and then sends a giant, what's it called, lightning ball from the sky, grabbing it and throwing it through the cave. This is where, well, Sasori and Deidara are right now taking out the One-Tons. We're trying to. They didn't have that luxurious time to kind of do that in original canon because Naruto was chasing after them, even though they didn't even notice. This is where the lightning ball crashes through the bolt, well, the giant boulder that was right there, kind of blocking the cave and all that. Smashes through it, hits Deidara, and Deidara is paralyzed right now. This is where Sasori was like, "What the?" This is where, well, the other, like, Akatsuki members are like, "What is happening?" This is where, well, Sasori says, "I don't know," but this is where Naruto appears in a flash. In a just flash. When the lightning hits Deidara, this is where Deidara was paralyzed. But Naruto did something else that made him go in a flash. A light speed flash. This is where, well, light is not a disaster, but multiple light beams will kind of be a disaster. Well, not a flash. Mostly, he appears when he threw that lightning ball. He threw it, but of course, he kind of threw more other ones into it. This is where, well, it's kind of like a seal that he kind of got when he was kind of training in a disaster clan. In the Uzumaki, the old ruined temple, he found some like seals that allow him to kind of appear in a flash. He kind of using technology to kind of appear in flash and all that. So of course he appeared right in front of Sasori, kicking him in the face, cracking his puppet face and destroying it. Of course, this is where Sasori, that wasn't his real body, and this is where he gets out of his fake body, and right now is angry, looking who did it. This is where he sees a guy with blondish hair, and what's it called, red highlights, and of course his eyes are different. This is where Naruto sees the holograms of, well, the holograms. Naruto just sends a very powerful gush of wind, just blowing the holograms away. And this is where Naruto sees Deidara. Deidara's trying to get back to normal, but he felt like he just got hit by a million volt of lightning, because that lightning was different. It wasn't a normal color of lightning. It was a white lightning bolt. So of course he is having trouble. That's where Naruto sees Deidara, grabs him, smash him throughout the boulder, kind of just throwing him out. And this is where Naruto goes to hand signs and says, "Lightning Storm Striker." Well, strikers. This is where multiple Lightning Storm Strikers appeared from the sky and striking Deidara right now, killing him in an instant. This is where Sasori, he's damn, this guy's dangerous. Naruto appears right in front of him. Naruto just touches Sasori once, and Naruto says, what's it called? Snow blizzard touch. This is where when he touches Sasori felt like all his body felt like he was in a blizzard. He was all frozen. He's confused, and his body's actually turning to ice. This is where Naruto just punches Sasori's head and destroys it. Of course, this is where Naruto also, punches his head, but also then kicked him in the body, breaking it into a million pieces. This is where Naruto gets not Deidara, mostly Gaara up, and Gaara was only taking like 10% of the Shikaku. So he isn't dead. This is where Naruto gives Gaara back to Temari, and Temari says, "Thank you, Naruto, thank you." She like jumps on him and starts hugging him. Of course, she has to jump on him because Naruto's actually taller than her. Temari would have been she is like 5'4", while Naruto is like 6'2". So of course, this is where Temari's glad because Naruto had to take time off to actually help her out because of her brother. So of course she's just hugging him, and Naruto saying, Temari, can you get off of me? This is where Temari does and just really hugs Naruto and says thank you, thank you, thank you. But Naruto just keeps nodding. Of course they take back Gaara towards the Sand Village, but yeah. Of course, this is where the Akatsuki are kind of pissed. They don't know what the fuck happened. And they just realized that Deidara and Sasori are dead after like 4 days. They're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Fine, whatever. Let's capture the two tails. We do have a little bit of the of the Shikaku. So, of course, they still capture the two tails Yujito. She still gets like taken out by, Hidan and Kazu. Of course, this is where they still, they kind of go after the three tails, and the three tails capture is actually Itachi and Kisame. Of course, when they go to get the three tails, they actually get murked. Mostly, Itachi tries to use fire style on Tsukuyomi on the three tails until something happens. The three tails was actually under the control of Itachi, and this is where Kisame was about to start using his shark attack and even Semihara to kind of attack the three tails until a giant tornado appears. And this is where the three tails is right now under protection from multiple members of the Disaster Clan. This is where Itachi looks up and sees multiple members on top of the three tails. This is where one member kind of looks at the three tails with his own eyes, breaking the genjutsu of the Tsukuyomi. Or not Tsukuyomi, mostly the genjutsu of the Sharingan. This is where, Itachi says, what the? That can't be impossible. This is where all of them has, robes, and they're mostly either gray to blue and yellow and all that. And this is where Kisame says, it seems that I'm going to be fighting them. This is where Semihara, mostly Kisame rushes up there with Semihara, and one dude pulls out a sword, but mostly the sword was like red, and kind of tries to slice through Semihara. This is where it's burning red, and it's right now cutting Semihara. Semihara cannot absorb the chakra because this chakra is so dense and deadly, mostly like fire. It's like wildfire. And of course, this is where Semihara is trying to swarm away from, Kisame, so it doesn't touch the fire. Of course, this is where Kisame had to use a water style to attack, the person who's right now with red hair. And of course, this is where someone says, Tsunami Wall! This is where a tsunami wall appears, and of course, the water style didn't actually hit the person. And this is where, Itachi and Kisame are right now struggling because they're right now fighting against disaster members. Now, of course, this is where, Itachi has to dodge lightning strikes from the sky. Multiple of them. He's having to dance around. Of course, his Sharingan is not able to help him, and he just has to dodge by instance. This is where, Itachi says, damn it, lightning. It's actual natural lightning, not jutsu lightning. He almost gets hit. This is where Itachi says, but if I keep dodging like this is where someone says, like 4 people say tornado style. This is where multiple tornadoes appears, and this is where they all combine together their hands and say hurricane style. And this is where Itachi says hurricane. He gets right now pulled around the hurricane, getting just pushed around until he has to use Susanoo. He says Susanoo. This is where he pulls on the, well, puts on the Susanoo, but still the Susanoo is getting like pulled around by the hurricane. Even if the Susanoo was able to, what's it called, break through the hurricane, he needs more power. This is where he's actually overusing the what's called Monica Sharingan, making him more blind. This is where, well, he's trying to, and of course this is where he does make it a perfect Susanoo. And of course this is where, well, he's having to attack the members. Some of the members manage to dodge the attack, but some of them sees that, well, Itachi's right now in this perfect Susanoo. Now Itachi's very like tired. He's like, damn it, I didn't know these type of members would be out here. And they're not from the Uchiha. Their eyes are different. This is where, well, someone appeared. Naruto Uzumaki. This is where Naruto looks at the giant Susanoo. And this is where he goes into his second form of the not Sharingan, mostly Dojutsu. And this is where he says, legendary style, legendary armor of a god. This is where, well, he claps his hands together. This is where, well, something appeared. This is similar to a Susanoo, but of course it is gray. It's all gray. But of course, instead of just having one arm being a perfect, well, not one arm, two arms and being a perfect Susanoo, it has multiple arms. It looks like the god, what was that one god? You know that one god where it's like 1,000 hands or whatever that Hashirama kind of uses? Yes, it looks like that, but instead of having multiple hands, it has multiple hands with different abilities. This is where Naruto says, Guardian of Disasters. This is where, well, all of those hands mostly use having different disaster abilities on it. This is where Itachi widens his eyes. This is where Naruto sends so many attacks at Itachi. Itachi is trying to block it with his Susanoo's shield, thinking he can reflect it, but multiple of those attacks hits the ground, making a whirlpool either underneath and making Itachi fall into the water. A tsunami hits Itachi. Itachi's trying to block it, but he gets hit up behind and can't use the shield. This is where he tries to use the sword, basically the Taku blade or whatever it's called, just kind of suck in any jutsu or another. And this is where Naruto actually rushes towards. Of course, Itachi using the blade to try to, well, seal Naruto away. Of course, it doesn't penetrate Naruto's Susanoo. And Naruto sees... if you heard that, yeah, my phone just fell. Oops. Oops. There's no way for me to cut that out. I don't care. Of course, this is where Naruto and, well, Itachi tries to attack Naruto Susanoo, but Naruto makes a shield with 4 different disasters because he has 4 hands and more hands, and blocks the sword, and Naruto just grabs with other 4 hands and well, basically Itachi's Susanoo, and grabbing his other shields, and Naruto just jumps out of the Susanoo, punching Itachi's Susanoo out, just breaking it, and starts fighting against Itachi right now, beating his ass, making Itachi get more and more tired. This is where Itachi, he's trying to get up, but this is where Naruto plucks out his eyes and then beats his ass down to the ground. This is where Naruto sees the Susanoo is finally breaking, and seeing his own Susanoo is also breaking, because Naruto dispelled the Susanoo. And this is where Naruto throws Itachi up in the sky and says, Lightning Storm Striker! Crushing, murdering, and burning Itachi, obliterating him. Of course, Naruto crushes Itachi's eyes in his arm, or mostly hand, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Kisame widened his eyes and realized that Itachi just died. This is where Kisame has to go. But Kisame cannot leave because there's multiple tornadoes all around him. Also, when he tries to jump away by going into the tornadoes, the water actually starts kind of making him fall down like if it is quicksand. This is where he says, damn it. This is where multiple members appeared. This is where well, what's it called? Kisame did try to stab into the ground to absorb the chakra, but realized this is not chakra. All the disasters, what's it called? Jutsus? These are not disaster jutsus. These are actual abilities that doesn't take any chakra into them. This is where Kisame cannot go. But this is where Naruto appears with his hand coated in multiple colors of lightning and stabbing Kisame right in the, well, chest right now using all the lightning through what's it called, Naruto's like palm into Kisame, kind of killing him from the inside. Yeah. As if you heard me just kind of drink, yeah, I'm kind of thirsty. But yeah, Kisame is dead, Itachi is dead, Deidara is dead, and Sasori is dead. It's where the Three Tails is safe, and of course the Three Tails goes away. Now, this is where, well, the Four Tails is captured, the Five Tails is captured, the Six Tails is being captured by the Six Paths of Pain, but when they tried to capture the Six Tails, Naruto was already there with his different Disaster Clan members. Now, of course, this is where, well, Naruto fights against the Rinnegan. And of course, this is where the Rinnegan says, well, shouldn't I Tensei to push Naruto away? Naruto does get pushed away, but this is where Naruto gets annoyed so much of that bullshit Rinnegan that he activated his own Rinnegan. Instead of being what's called a purple Rinnegan, it is actually grayish. The black rings are silver. The black rings are silver color. But of course, it is dark gray. That's where Naruto sees the, when, what's it called? The Diva Path, they try to say Shinda, Tensei, and Naruto. Naruto just absorbs the attack and starts fighting against the Diva Path, well, mostly the other paths. This is where Naruto easily takes out the, well, different paths by using a different, what's called, nature and even mankind disasters. Crushing them, melting them, or even kind of barbecuing them with lightning, or even burning them. This is where, well, the Diva Path just tried to fight against Naruto by trying to use Universal Pull, and Naruto doesn't get pulled. Instead, gravity doesn't affect Naruto no more. Naruto can actually bring the Diva Path towards him instead. Shinrai Tensei blows the Diva Path away. This is where he says, Universal Pull. This is where, well, the Diva Path gets pulled towards Naruto, and Naruto grabs him from the neck and crushes it. Naruto now knows where, what's it called, Nagato's real body's at. Konoha is trying to help Nagato until Naruto appears, burning all of the paper using wild flames, wild fire. And of course, this is where Naruto sees Konoha and burns her. This is where Naruto sees Nagato and glares with his own Rinnegan at Nagato. Nagato sees that he ain't no god versus the god of destruction. Yeah, that's basically the god of destruction in Naruto. But really, it's not the god of destruction. He's the god of disasters. So yeah. This is where, well, Nagato says, I will not. Naruto already stabbed him in the heart, ripping out his heart and crushing it. This is where Nagato dies. But this is where Naruto sees the Geto statue and actually takes the Geto statue, can actually summon it from his own. So of course he takes out the Rinnegan and crushes it in his hand. So Obito and Black Zetsu are widening their eyes when they see Nagato's dead, the Rinnegan is gone, and well, the person who actually did all this commotion is Naruto for the Disaster Clan ahead. So of course, this is where Obito and Black Zetsu and even what's called Kakuzu and Hiran, who are the last members, are going to go kind of fight the Disaster members. When they go do that, Naruto is waiting with an entire army of, well, the Mist Village, the Darkness Village, Sand Village, and even his own clan village. That they kind of see Kakuzu and Hiran. Naruto can easily use tornadoes to kind of separate Kakuzu and Hiran. This is where Kakuzu were fighting most of the Disaster members. And of course, most of the Disaster members sees when Kakuzu is using one element to another element to another element, they all get counter easily because the Disasters can use elements. Of course, much more powerful elements than, well, Kakuzu. Killing Kakuzu in an instant. This is where, when it comes to Hiran, Hiran is just drowned into the water. And of course, his head is cut off from a Mist Ninja. And of course, this is where they throw Hiran's head somewhere else into the water. When Obito is fighting against Naruto, Naruto can actually break through dimensions with his Rinnegan and actually grab, what's it called? Well, mostly touch or grab Obito's real body and start hurting it really bad by using wild flames, wild flames, wild flame burns, using lightning strikers, using earth style, earthquake, using Volcano for the last finishing move, because after Obito realized that he can't fight against Naruto, Naruto did take out his Sharingan, crushing it. And of course, this is where Naruto makes a Volcano, throwing Obito to the volcano and burning him. Naruto does see black and white Zetsu using Shinrai Tensei. Well, not Shinrai Tensei, he says Universal Pull. And pulls in black and white Zetsu and throws them also into the volcano, burning them all. Now, of course, Naruto then summoned the Ghetto statue, kind of freeing all the different tail beasts back into their own, what they call, path or whatever. Of course, this is where, we go into a time skip of Naruto being, 31. Naruto is now so old. He's now older. Of course, he's kind of not really in his prime yet. Well, I mean, he's already somewhat past his prime. But, of course, Naruto, he is, having one kid who has kind of blondish hair, very lightish blondish hair, but also dark blonde hair at the same time. Of course, his eyes are kind of like greenish, and one side is blue. Of course, this kid has the power of the disasters and all that. But, of course, he has a very strong wind style. Very strong wind style. Of course, Naruto is actually kind of like married to Temari. But of course, this is where Naruto's villages and all that are all together. And it's actually the strongest village out there. Because Naruto combines darkness, his, clan head village, the island, with the mist village and the sand village combining together to make a stronger village entirely. Stronger than what's it called the other two. The stone village and even the cloud village. Of course, this is where Inoki did try to attack Naruto when Naruto was 31. But of course, Naruto wiped out Inoki because Inoki was already past of being kind of the Kage and all that. And of course, this is where Naruto was also fighting the Raikage and destroyed the Raikage. Kind of combining the left two over clans. Well, not clans, the two leftover villages into his own, making a bigger nation entirely. Naruto is considered to be a god amongst everyone, and of course his child was actually called demigod. Now, of course, the disaster members are now celestial beings because Naruto created them to be celestial beings, while everyone are just below the celestials. There's nobles, there's this and that. The daimyos are destroyed to kind of just being noble people, but yeah. This is where Naruto, he is now somewhat the king over all the, all of the different villages and all. But of course, if any village does any crime, evil, or anything, Naruto can just summon a disaster for them and destroying them in an instant. This is where Naruto is so powerful that with his Rinnegan, it boosted up everything. He doesn't even need to walk away or even go to the place where people are trying to, kind of make a kind of plan to kill him. Naruto can just snap his finger and a tornado can appear from out of nowhere. Naruto can be millions of miles away, and yeah. Now, of course, this is where, this is the end of this what if. What if Naruto had disasters, jutsus, / abilities? Not Naruto. This is the end of this what if. Yep, this is part 4 of this what if, and it's the end. Like I said, I was gonna end this series. So yeah, of course, this is where I have to end other what if series, like what if Naruto was from a special clan, which I'm still trying to end, but yeah. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato, and good night. But yeah, bye.